want to move on to something that could really affect your football experience if you are a Philadelphia Eagles fan, because while it's not going to happen this year or next year, I've been saying now for a while that in the midst of this whole sports complex renovation, this reimagining of the sports complex, that I fully believe the Philadelphia Eagles are going to build a dome. And I know that on the surface, a lot of people say, well, that's a really stupid thing. Like, part of home field advantage is, you play in these elements. And then all the dome teams who have to come to Philadelphia, especially in the postseason, aren't used to playing in the cold or aren't used to playing in the snow. And that is an added advantage for your team. And fair enough, fair point. When you have a warm weather team that comes up to Philadelphia and has to play in 7 inches of snow and there's like freezing rain and everything, yeah, you might not be used to it. And it might actually be an advantage for your team. But I've been saying that this is so much more of a business decision than a football decision. And if you remember, back when the idea was out there that the Sixers were going to go build at Market East, that was like their whole thing, and the Flyers were going to build their own new arena, and there was the idea of a WNBA team, and the esports arena that was scrapped might end up becoming a small concert venue, and then you had the idea of like apartments and stores were going to be built, and they were going to try to create like a mini town in the sports complex, and you knew that Citizens Bank Park, Phillies are happy there, everything's going well, they continue to just keep that place lovely and nice, love Citizens Bank Park. I've said all along, I think that the Eagles are ultimately going to want a dome. And the answer and the reason for it is very simple. If you're the Philadelphia Eagles, that stadium, I hate Lincoln Financial Field. I do. I do not like that stadium whatsoever. It is my least favorite of the Philadelphia stadiums and arenas. It is one of my least favorite NFL stadiums I've been in. One that comes to mind that I hate significantly more is MetLife. But I don't like Lincoln Financial Field. I don't understand it. I don't feel like the sound multiplies the way that it should. Maybe it's the open ends. I've just never really loved it. It feels kind of spiritless. Like when you go into Citizens Bank Park, how it feels like you're getting a warm hug? Maybe it's because it's the summer. But like you feel like you're getting kind of hugged by nostalgia. And there's like hope springs eternal when you go to a Phillies game, even if the bullpen's going to come in and like blow up. Or Max Kepler is going to get one of the last at-bats and, puke all over himself. Something about Citizens Bank Park that makes you feel this is great. And every seat in the place, you're like, this still ends up being a good seat. Even if you're sitting up in the 400 level, you go, I can still see things. Like, this is good. You go to Wells Fargo Center now, like since the renovations, and you go, yeah, this is actually pretty nice. I didn't like Wells Fargo Center before the renovation, right? It just kind of felt like it was an outdated arena. I think it's significantly better now. You go to Subaru Park. There's not a bad seat in the house at Subaru Park if you go to see a Union game. But I hate Lincoln Financial Field. Like, the sooner they tear it down and rebuild with something new, the better. They can't host a Final Four. They can't host any indoor events that would otherwise move significant ticket sales. They had a WrestleMania here, not this past spring, but last spring. And I went to WrestleMania. I went to night 1, and it was unbearably cold. And one of the things that the WWE kind of said coming out of it was Philadelphia was a great place to host a WrestleMania. The facilities were fantastic. Having access to like right across the street, you have Wells Fargo Center. They could run the NXT show leading up to WrestleMania. Like, that's great. They could set up the Fanatics Fest and what was it, WWE World. Like, having all of that space, all of that parking is sensational. Like, that is something you don't find in a lot of cities. The downside was it was unbelievably cold. So if your idea is we want to be able to host events like that, we want to be able to host events like WrestleMania again, well, they're kind of calendar limited. You're locked into those dates, and I don't see a scenario where WWE says, yeah, we're going to turn back around and go back to Philadelphia for WrestleMania knowing how cold it was. Could you like try to make the case, oh, well, SummerSlam makes sense. They're doing 2 nights of SummerSlam this year. Could the Eagles and Lincoln Financial Field host a summer pay-per-view? Sure, but then again, you have the weather. You have the weather elements that you don't want to have to account for. The Final Four to me is like a big one. Certain concerts, certain artists who might not want to have to deal with potential weather, that's another part of it. How about winter concerts? Totally out of the realm of possibility for the most part, right? It makes all the sense in the world that Jeffrey Lurie would want to have his massive stadium, the biggest one in the city, be one that could be used year-round. And so I fully expect them to go to the Dome. Now, they have sent out emails to season ticket holders requesting feedback about the idea of potentially a Dome. But before we get there, I want to go back to a clip that Elliott Shore-Parks put out on Twitter back around the Super Bowl, this past Super Bowl, when he was asked about a dome or about trying to put a roof or something over Lincoln Financial Field. And I want you to hear what Jeffrey Lurie has to say, and then I want you to try to tell me that it doesn't sound like this guy's mind is already made up, that he wants to have a dome, to have a place that they can host events year-round. Let's go out to Jeffrey Lurie back around the Super Bowl.
I don't have a strong opinion about it because you're torn. I love outdoor football. I love it. I love the cold games. I like the hot games. I like the snow games. On the other hand, does Philadelphia deserve to host the Super Bowl, NCAA Final Four? Lots of great events. It's an incredible sports city. Does it deserve that? Yes. So you've got to balance all those things.
So there's your split, right? Like from the football owner side of things, you want that home field advantage. You want the seasons. You want snow games. You want the advantages that having an outdoor stadium comes with, especially if your team is really good. But the flip side is like the man wants to make money, and who could blame him? And there's another event there that he mentioned that I intentionally omitted to this point. They want to host a Super Bowl. You're not hosting a Super Bowl in February in Philadelphia. It's not happening. So add these things up. Final Four, Super Bowl, non-fully sports events, with all due respect to pro wrestling. You can't host a WrestleMania. Say AEW comes to you and says, we want to host All In Philadelphia or a massive stadium event. Can't do it. To me, it's a no-brainer. And I know that a lot of people who are very dead set in this idea of home field advantage will freak out and say it's nonsense and it's a terrible idea and it's ruining football and it kills your home field advantage. But in fairness, I don't think that you're going to see a lot of open-air stadiums in cold weather cities a decade or two from now. I think you're going to see more and more teams move to having domes. Now, if you want to still have grass or a grass composite that's kind of feathered in with turf, that's a different conversation. But I just don't see a scenario where you're going to see the New Yorks and even the New England, like maybe at some point New England builds a dome. You saw Minnesota move indoors. I just think that you're going to get to a point where a lot of the cold weather cities are going to have the same realization. We are limiting our upward potential from a financial perspective of having year-round events. I could be wrong. I could be right. Now, if it's a retractable roof, maybe it's the best of both worlds. If Jeffrey Lurie says, you know what? It's going to snow. We're going to open the roof. I mean, I don't know what that means. In fairness, like, I'd have to imagine it's not a great idea to have a retractable roof and say, yeah, let's let a foot of snow land inside of the building. However, maybe you can have the best of both worlds. Maybe you can allow for the cold and your fans show up and they know, all right, they're not closing the roof. We're not going to have, 75 degrees inside the dome for a January football game for the NFC or the NFC Championship game. We still have to bundle up because it's going to be cold. Okay. I mean, are Eagles fans really going to complain? Are you going to get like the first world problems people kind of like knocking down the doors for the NFC Championship game saying, it's 30 degrees outside and you expect me to have to wear a coat inside of a stadium that has a retractable roof? Yeah, put on a coat. You'll survive. And if not, go to the bathrooms where they might even have heated seats on the toilets. Okay? Like, I don't view it as a controversial topic. I think the Eagles should absolutely build a dome. To me, it's not even close. I think anything else or anyone who tries to tell you differently is being somewhat disingenuous. I just, like, I don't know exactly, like, what else you'd expect. And, somebody threw out this, no, I'll avoid this image. But there was one about, like, what a potential dome could look like, what it would look like from the inside for the Eagles. I just don't know. Now, I bring all this up because, as I said earlier, they've been sending emails out to their season ticket holders to try to solicit some thoughts and some opinions on, what it could include. So, let's see, here's the survey. I'll show you the email really quick, and then we're going to move on. So this was the first part. Dear Eagles fan, thank you for your incredible support this season. Your unwavering support inspires us every day. As we look to the future, we are committed. Go away. There we go. We are committed. Where'd it go? There we go. To delivering a best-in-class game day experience for Philadelphia Eagles fans. To help guide this vision, we're exploring potential updates to Lincoln Financial Field, including both renovation options and the possibility of a brand new stadium in the region. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Okay, so then here's what it includes. They talk about a renovated link, having improved parking and pedestrian access, enhanced tailgating, pre-post-game entertainment options, upgraded concourses and stadium technology, and a variety of new premium seating options. Then, this is where it gets interesting. Please rank the designs in order by preference. 1 is the design you prefer, and 5 is the design you least prefer. Open air covered, canopy, fixed, natural light, and then you have this guy, right? So you have this canopy, you have the fixed natural light, you have the open air. This one on the bottom just flat out looks like a dome. But these are your 5 options. The fact that they're including this idea of a canopy, about having a soft roof on it, right? With the canopy, with the natural light, and then having a flat out dome, a nice hard roof. Maybe it's a retractable roof. That to me is interesting. So I need to know from people in the comments, do you support the idea of a dome?